Hello, I'm Austin Lafferty, President of the Law Society of Scotland. Now, I am a lawyer, have been for more than 30 years, and the law is sometimes about conflict and contention. But I always say that by nature I'm a lover rather than a fighter. And I always try, whether I'm doing matrimonial work or commercial work or property work or just general civil dispute work, to try and find the way of resolving the problem without it having to cost people a lot of money, time, anxiety. I have never yet known anyone who's gone to court and come out the other side saying, "Oh, that was great, I really enjoyed that." It's more likely they will say, "Why did we have to sit around court all day until being told at 4 o'clock to come back another day? Look at the amount it's cost me. I'm still, even though I've won, I'm still bitter. I'm just not satisfied." And that is a perfectly reasonable response to the process of litigation. Sometimes litigation is inevitable and cannot be avoided, but there is an alternative. Now, words like mediation, arbitration, dispute resolution, conciliation, fantastic concepts. Let's look at arbitration. Now, arbitration is an alternative to court litigation, but in a way mirrors it. It mirrors it in that you get two parties coming together, they put in information and perhaps written pleadings, let's call them, and somebody selected makes a decision which is legally binding on both people and decides who wins and who loses. So it's a parallel to the court, but there are certain essentials in it which are different. One being, you can choose the person who is going to regulate your issue. It doesn't need to be a judge or a sheriff chosen at random within the court process. You can find the exact expert who might not be a lawyer. They might be a surveyor or an architect or some other professional who has an intimate knowledge of your particular issue. Now, it is said that the costs of arbitration are less than litigation. That's not always true, but at least the costs can be controlled and controlled in advance, which is an absolute essential for people embarking on any kind of contentious process. Now, there are various ways of getting an arbiter. The best way, so far as I'm concerned, is by using the Scottish Arbitration Centre. It's a project, an institution in which the Law Society has very much a stake, and it is developing facilities and expertise which will allow parties, not just in Scotland but elsewhere, to come to Scotland, to use Scottish facilities, to use Scottish expertise, and to settle a matter by way of what you might call a Scottish arbitration. It is important that practitioners who are in the areas of work that I've talked about, civil litigation, even matrimonial work, commercial work, that they are aware, firstly, that arbitration exists and should be thought of as a way, as a possibility, something to offer to the clients, and that the Scottish Arbitration Centre exists as a centre of excellence for this work. I should say that I think, although I love Scotland and I love the Scottish legal profession and the Scottish legal world, I was recently abroad in the United States and Canada, and there's no doubt that arbitration there is much more of an institution than we have. It is much more of, it's not universal, but it's much more widely used, and it has developed its own traditions and eminence, so that it is very much one of the first ports of call where there is a matter of contention and American attorneys get involved. You don't always want to say that Americans are necessarily ahead of us in everything. I know in pop music, fashion and IT, we get what they have developed several years later. But I think in arbitration they do have the right attitude. It is one of the first tools they will go to when there's an issue between clients, rather than being enslaved to courts. So that's the message. Always think of discussing or offering arbitration as a way of solving a dispute, if suitable for that dispute and if suitable for those clients. And you will be able to get information from our website on the Scottish Arbitration Centre.